Hey yo guys, how's it going? Tally here, and today I'm bringing you the most ambitious, best video I've ever brought you to date. This is 100 games. I'm going to keep the intro nice and short. My socials are on screen. Please follow me at TCG_Tally on Twitch, Twitter and Instagram. Please like and share this video, I worked super duper hard on it. If you like the video as well, join Team Tally by subscribing, and of course, comment hashtag for the algorithm. Now let's dive right in. I drew the nuts and still managed to mess up the combo, but thank God for Liquid Soldier drawing those Solemns, am I right? I increased Absolute Zero to decrease their monsters, and then I just went and punched them. They make me go second, and while that board looks bad, it turns out they have a busted trap. This game marks the start of Acid being an absolute G, saved me from being OTK'd and managed to take care of that pesky trap card all at once. Back to my turn, I combo, and Bane goes smash. Game 3 we're going against Phantasm Spiral. They went first and set up D-Fissure, plus there can be only one, the absolute bane of every hero deck, and try as I might to get around it, this deck just plussed from me breathing, so hopefully I'll have a better chance post-siding. Game 4 I sided everything I needed to do well, but having a bunch of searchable hand traps is pretty powerful, and they're still plussing when I breathe. Overall, my inexperience against the matchup took over, so I took the next trip to Scooptown. In Game 5, and if only I'd went first. Sadly I didn't though, and I lost. Delightful. Game 6 we're up against Salomon Great. I go absolutely ham and do the combo, they hit me with a Biru, I cry a little. The question is, can Bane protect me? The answer is no. Game number 7, I side for second and they pass. I open up enough to OTK under 5 summons and they hit Scoop. Game number 8, they open up great and I sadly don't. Then they hit me with Nibiru. Here we are in game number 9 and oh my god. Game 10, I play it kinda simple, put up some beaters and play the resource game using Masked Hero Blast. Then it disconnected and I was kinda relieved because I don't like that deck if I'm honest. Game 11 and we're up against zombies again, and I set up an okay board but forgot about my nemesis Super Poly. It's okay though, I broke their board, they called me a name and then they scooped before I could kill them. Game 12 was against Blue Eyes, and I'm not really sure what this guy's deck was all about, but I liked the energy. However, one strike ended it and I OTK next turn. Game 13, and of course because it's me I mess up the combo and end on a suboptimal board, but still enough to take on this deck. And then I'm hit with Thunder End Dragon, what is that? It's okay though, I've got follow-up plays with my own board wipe, and then I win. Game 14 is against an Assault Mode deck and I open up great, but sadly get Nibiru'd again. Thankfully I had Solemn Johnson just in case. They try to summon Stardust Dragon, I gave it to Johnson and they scoop. Game 15 we're going up against Unchained. Please don't have the Ash, please don't have the Ash. Oh god damn it! Okay, set 2 pass. Oh no, he has the out! Please don't have an Ash. Motherfucker! Game 17 and we're up against Harpy again. We open up a decent hand with 3 points of interaction and dang! Solemn Johnson is forcing scoops left, right and centre today. Game 18 is against Zoo, and I probably shouldn't have put my second mask change in that column, but look at that, Chain Link 5 baby. Now I feel unstoppable, but as always I'm scared of the rock, so I keep expecting a Biru, but that worked incredibly well and we take the win. Game 19 and I side for going second, but they make me go first. Ouch. But I open up a decent enough hand provided they don't have an Ash. And they didn't! I set 2 and pass on their turn, I pop their monster with Dystopia and bounce the back row with Blast, and with a cheeky Stratos on my turn, that's game. Game number 20 and we're up against 6 Samurai in for Noble Knights, okay. Well, look at that god awful hand and what am I going to do with that? Scoop I suppose? Game 21 and I side for going second and open a pretty tasty hand where I built into the biggest beaters possible in OTK. Game number 22 and we see Harpies again. As usual I make a misplay because I stayed up kinda late to record this game, but as with most Harpy decks, once you get rid of the boss monster, then they scoop. Game 23, I do a decent combo to end on Sunrise, Stratos and Darklaw, and I'm hit with the rock. Luckily they don't have engage, so I struck, Yeah, struck Kagari with my main man Johnson and then they scooped. Game 24 against the best deck ever, Heroes. I open up Meh and they hit me with the Imperm. Then they open up a Hero Lives and Faris and then they scoop. Weird, but I'll never say no to a free win. Game 25, I thought they were going to go second, so I kept all my going first cards. Not a smart idea. They popped off. So now it's my turn to scoop with a bad hand and go to the tiebreaker. Game 26, and I side as many go second cards as possible and open up the nuts, but they opened Super Poly, so if no monsters left on the field, I played Mystic Mine. They called me a scrub, and then they quit. Game 27 versus Teller Knights. I've opened up horribly with no idea what to do, so I shell up. Got a feeling this one's going to be a long one. Game 28, I set up a decent board despite the anti-spell, but I did misplay by not grabbing the Stratos, since that would have been game, because I could have popped the anti-spell and used those tasty cards in my hand. Still walk away with the W though. Starting off game 29, they make me go first, and I'm thinking of Nibiru, so I hold the Fusion Destiny and set up a modest board of Sunrise, Absolute Zero, with the option of Darklaw, or a board wipe on the opponent's turn. I picked Darklaw, which seemed to do something since they pretty much passed on nothing, enter Dystopia for the win. Game 30 brings us the classic Hero vs Cyber Dragon matchup. I start off with the nuts and they have no hand traps, love it, but they do have Lightning Storm, so I'm left with only a defense position Darklaw and another mask change. But we got this. They wipe the board, but I've learned not to blow my load too early, so I do have follow-up plays, wiping the board and leaving myself with a ferocious board of Wonder Driver and Liquid Soldier. They suck the Wonder Driver, I hit them with the Honest Neos, mass change that back row away, and take the win. Game 31, and ha! I've opened up Judgment, I fear no storm. I end on a modest board and I should have Darklawed sooner, but with Honest Neos and Sunrise, they didn't stand a chance. Then they misplay and scoop, but we all know I had the win. Game 32, we're going against Pendulum, and I open up the combo, ending on a board of Sunrise, 2 Darklaw targets and 2 Imperms, and nothing but confidence in my heart. They go to search, so I hit them with the Darklaw, add Honest Neos off a Shadow Mist, and just play Protect Darklaw at all costs, until they scoop, or LTK, whichever came first, just as long as we get the win, you know. Game 33, I open up a decent board again, but they have the Evenly. Kidding, I was left with Dark Griller and Mystic Mine, and this went exactly as you'd expect it to go. No, I don't feel good about it at all. I feel pretty bad. For game 34, we are going up against Altergeist, and they open up well, and I open up Any other hero would have been great, but sadly it wasn't in the cards. This game wasn't in my favour at all. Let's go to the next one. Game 35, and I sided and went second with some proper blowout cards, and had the full OTK combo in hand. Love it. Game 36 is against Mystic Mine. Nope. Game number 37 against Cyber Dragon again. They end on a weird board, and that makes it nice and easy to OTK. Game 38 is against Burning Abyss. It doesn't look like they know what they're doing very well, so they go ahead and scoop. Sadly for our friend of the Burning Abyss, Game 39 is very much second verse, same as the first. Game number 40 against Nemesis Phantom Knight. They end on Dante set 2. Honestly, I should have dropped Honest Neos, but I wanted to punch them a lot with a lot of different monsters. On the bright side though, they've got nothing and they go to scoop. In game number 41, nothing feels better than setting up Darklaw against a graveyard based deck, plus we've got the Imperm to negate. I feel safe as can be. Now they did try to play smart, but I OTK'd them anyway. In game number 42, we were up against Unchained again, and I am having flashbacks. I think I could have played this better, but in the end, we got the W. Game number 43, and we are up against Sky Striker yet again. Aim of the game here is I really want to keep them out of their Striker links, since that's their biggest way of accruing advantage, and those free cards I've got set do exactly the job. Game number 44, and I sided for going second, but they made me go first. I knew they couldn't kill me in one turn, so I passed, and on my turn I cleared their board. With that, I felt on top of the world. But wait a minute, on their turn they Shark Cannon, summon a Tuner, Halqifibrax. If they have another Veiler here, I've absolutely lost. And they summon Ash. Go into Hita. Haha! I've got no fires, so they lose. Did I deserve that win? No. Am I taking it? Absolutely. Game number 45, and we are back up against Salamangreats. They ended on a super suboptimal board, but my hand sucked. So of course Stratos came to save the day. As always, Salamangreats have taught me to fear the rock, so I tried to hold some extenders while being really scary to them, and now they're dead. In game number 46 I go second, and this time they did Nibiru me, but with them being super low on resources I knew that this game was mine. Game number 47, we go up against Paleo Frogs with a little bit of a Lightsworn twist. Now, they didn't have particularly great mills with their Lightsworn cards, so we go in for the nice and easy OTK. Game 48 is against Generic Cyburst, and I'm gonna be honest, I don't really know what to hit here. But I opened up 3 Solemns, so it's pretty hard to lose, right? They tried their best, but after hitting some of their key cards, that led to a nice little win for me. Game number 49 is against Mermail, and this either goes amazing or it doesn't. Well, after those draws it went amazing. After a couple turns it led to a convenient disconnect on their end, but we all know that that victory was mine and well deserved. Game number 50, and we play against Salamangreats again. I go first and get interrupted at every point possible, so I end on Dread Decimator and Malicious. Not too sure why I ended on Malicious. I do make it to the next turn and they've still got everything but a nice chain block with Sunrise, a true hero, nets me some gold, and now I'm the bane of salads. Officially over the halfway point now into game 51, I open up a weird hand but manage to turn it into a decent-ish board, but then they hit my Imperm. And I managed to survive their turn and go into mines, just managing the OTK. Game number 52, and Madolche choose to go first, which by the way, I didn't know Madolche would ever do. I thought they were a go second OTK deck. So at this point I've got no idea what to hand trap at all. I try and make some plays on my turn, but they just have an answer for everything, so that game goes to them. On the third game of this match, it disconnected with no one really having an advantage, so I didn't count it. Game 53, and we're going up against Code Talker the deck. I set up the board, and they do give it a try, they do try and push through, but in the end we've just got too much for them to deal with and they scoop. Game number 54, they managed to go first and actually set up somewhat of a board. I assumed Evenly would do the trick, but apparently not. Then on my Vion I'm hit with Mirror of Oaths. Honestly, that did slow me down, but it didn't stop me ending on Bane, which I didn't see them outing. They managed to out Bane, but they couldn't go for the kill. I hadn't used Poly yet, so I did the thing, wiped their board and had game. Game number 55, and they make me go first, so as always fearing the rock I decided to set up a small board since I had lots of backup plays, and on a nice little judgment as well. Now, on their turn they must have had a pretty bad hand, because after that allure they decided to scoop. Game number 56, they go first and they set up one cool monster. On my turn, I set up 4, and of course we did the OTK thing. Game number 57, and again we're up against our good friends Salamangreats. Please don't negate, please don't negate. Oh damn. Please don't have Borrowload. God damn it! Going into game number 58, we start off with such a great board breaking hand. No extenders though, so we've got nothing to take advantage of all this board breaky goodness, and that leads to a sad loss. Game number 59, and we're up against Dream Mirror. And my opponent started off with a little bit of smack talk, so I don't reply and I set up the usual board and pass. They don't really do anything on their turn, and when I'm mid-combo next turn, they scoop. Always be nice guys, eh? Game number 16, we're up against Adamancipator for a little bit of meta. I open up with an okay hand, but Imperm and Solemn Strike are really good with Dark Law. Now, if we can just sit on those for the full game, that should earn us the win. And it does! Game number 61, they make me go second, and this hand is great against any other deck. Well, if they made any other negates, I'd be dead, but I think we can make this work. Bam! Pow! On their turn they open up Block Dragon, which allows them to go into Unicorn. Now, the Unicorn tries to spin back Dystopia, but we do have the mass change to make it a Dark Law, also ripping one of the cards they search from Block Dragon. Next, they try and go into Phoenix, try and pop the mass change, and unfortunately, they've got nothing. We just go into another Dark Law, and that game is ours. Game number 62, we're up against Blackwing. They ash the increase, which really sucks. I end on pretty much nothing, just an increase and a mass change, but they do scoot to Darklaw though. Game number 63, and we're up against Dark Magician. This is probably the easiest 2-0 that I've ever expected in my life. So, we don't really end on much because we have a weird hand, and oh my god, I just lost a game to Dark Magician. That can't happen again. Game number 64, and I go second. They do set up Secret Village of the Spellcasters, which should be an auto scoop, but we have the Evenly, and for some odd reason they decide to destroy my Evenly. I don't know if they know how that works, but that ends up clearing their entire field and we get the win. Game number 65, and they go first, setting up the typical Dark Magician board of Eternal Soul, Magical Circle and a Dark Magician in grave or hand. Now, in this case they banish our Sunrise, we manage to pop their Eternal Soul with the boy Dystopia, and that pretty much spells out victory. But just to add a little bit of insult to injury, we combo off a little bit more and end on the biggest beaters we possibly can. That game goes to us. Game number 66, and we're up against the Time Thief, which I personally have a really bad history with. But I open up pretty decent, but they open up with Reader, the counter trap, and a Gravedigger's Trap hole. So they interrupt a lot of our plays, but I manage to bait out a lot. I get a bit of damage in, and then on their turn, we just sit on Darklaw with the Solemn, and once we get rid of Perpetua, that takes a lot of steam out their engines, and that game goes to us after we start to snowball ourselves. Game number 67, and honestly I could not feel worse about this if I tried. They open up the negate, we have 2 copies of Lightning Storm, and since they negated the activation, we can use a second one. Then we have the Dark Ruler no more, then we have the combo to wipe their board, set up a Darklaw and just get rid of all of their resources. Of course we don't get that far, because they can see the writing on the wall, and it spells out demise. Game number 68, and we're going off against Odd Eyes, and for as much as I love this deck, they're not getting a free win from me, and with this hand I think it would actually be pretty difficult to lose, so of course we take the win. Game number 69 here, still against Odd Eyes, and we use that Mystic Mind to bait out the Hieratic Seal, and then from there we just kind of chip apart and break their board. Once they've got no scales, they've got nothing left, and we take the W. Game number 70, and this time we're up against Shaddolls, and against the vast majority of decks, including the one we're up against, this deck is an absolute winner, but you can spot that Super Poly in their hand, my arch nemesis. Thank god if it weren't for Stratos we probably would have lost it. Our Stratos allows us to grab Bane, Bane wipes the board and leaves them open for lots of damage, and from here they've pretty much got nothing they can do. This one goes to me. In this game they went first and set up a pretty decent board ready to go into Wind on my turn, and if I hadn't had Bane I'd probably be a little bit more screwed than I was. After that though, Apocalone definitely made sure that Bane just became a large vanilla. After that, Wind and Vanities pretty much put an end to me. Starting at game 72, I really felt like I could not lose this game if I tried, but they did, and they honestly did give it a good go of breaking the board and making sure that my life was a little bit more miserable. But in my turn, we just had too much advantage, we just pushed too hard, and then they flip over, Shaddoll Dragon bounces Bane. I've got 47 damage left to deal, and it turns out Blast and Honest Neos is 4700 damage exactly. That's so satisfying. Game 73, and again we're up against our good friends Salamangreats. And in this game I actually started to realise just how good Vision Hero Vion is. Got me out of such a sticky situation there, and then Darklaw just about single-handedly won me this one. Of course a little bit of push here and there, but Darklaw made sure that they couldn't go any further than they could. Game 74 was another one of those hands where I just prayed that they didn't have a hand trap. Turns out that they did, and they pretty much had like the nuts in the background, so I didn't really see me winning this at the time, and honestly, looking back, couldn't have won it at all, so let's move on to the next one. Game number 75, and they did the standard Salamangreat plays, but thankfully we've got the Evenly in our hand to take care of that, and they chose to leave Baguska on field, which I thought was kinda weird. I didn't expect it to actually hurt as much as it did, so we end up with a Darklaw in defence position, and then from there, they move, take out the Darklaw, but they do leave Baguska in attack, so on our turn, we have the Vion to absolutely go off and take advantage of their misplay. Game number 76 and we're up against Heroes again, and oh my goodness, they got the nuts. Managed to make a really solid board by stacking my deck, getting Plasma, Sunrise and Absolute Zero out with a mask change as well. So maybe Plasma is a little bit better than I give it credit for, but regardless, I lose this one. Game number 77, and I know this deck well enough to hit what hurts. Hit that increase, stopping them in their tracks in the end on Stratos, Bane and Increased, and I couldn't have opened a better hand if I tried. With Ecall taking Ash and Stratos getting us a big full combo, we were able to summon the biggest of chonkers and punch Bane for game. Game number 78, I go first. I had the easy Darklaw combo and I managed to set up the god board of Darklaw, Absolute Zero and Sunrise for protection, and a board wipe next turn in the mask change set. I negated the Stratos, and that's all she wrote. Guys, our opponent scoops and we walk away with an easy win. Game number 79 and we were back against Zodiac, and they just had the answer to every card in my arsenal. This one wasn't a long game, guys. I could feel the end was near very early, so we just went to Scoop Town. The following is an accurate representation of the events of Game 80. No, you can't OTK in under 5 summons! Lol, Punchy Boy goes brrrr. In Game 81, I knew he had the rock and I could smell what he was cooking, and I still managed to end on Darklaw Dystopia, which is enough to beat this deck, leaving them with no way to recur their Zodiac resources. And even though Dryden did a little bit of damage, we did a bit more damage back, and now that Dryden's gone, we win. Game 82 and we're back on Cyber Dragon. They hit the increase, which sucks, but I could feel in my gut that Bane would help here, and it did. I didn't even know I shouldn't solemn that card, but he took the L in the end. And for some odd reason in Game 83, my opponent just scooped. I don't know why they scooped, but you know we don't turn down free wins like that. Game 84 and we're back up against Shaddoll, and honestly we just got one of those hands where you can't lose, so we set our whole hand, summon a Shadow Mist, make it a Darklaw, get rid of that Construct, and of course the boy Masked Hero Acid gets rid of that back row for the quick and easy kill. Game 85, my opponent goes first. They summon a monster and set a whole bunch of back row, one of them being Super Poly, which by the way if they played at any point throughout the combo probably would have ruined my day, but it's alright, I've got a Power Ranger that's actually a Harpy's Feather Duster on legs, ready to take care of that back row, and we go for the nice and easy victory after that one, boys. Game 86, and because I'm a greedy sod, I didn't expect Waking the Dragon, so Dystopia pops that, they summon out the big chonker, and honestly, try as I might, I've got nothing that's going to get over that boy. Already burned through my Poly, already burned through my Honest Neos. Trinity isn't going to cut it this time, guys. Let's go to the next one. We go second in Game 87, playing nice and simple. They end on a Dryden with a bunch of hand traps, so we pop the Dryden with the Darklaw, take it real easy from there. Next turn, we summon a Stratos, which gets us a Faris, and again, we just poke for damage. Our opponent doesn't see any engine cards, which is an absolute miracle, so we've got this one in the bag. Game number 88, I summon the Lord and Saviour Vion to try and bait a couple of hand traps here and there. End up playing a really simple game with Sunrise, Absolute Zero and some back row. Turns out, that's all I really needed to stop them, and once Bane hits the field, they see the writing on the wall and hit that scoop button. I don't have much to say about Game 89. Turns out when you negate an extra deck summons from Speedroids, that kinda ends their whole game. All I have to say about Game 90 is I'm really sorry my speedy friend, you're just too slow. And guys, Game 91 marks the final stretch, we're almost there, we're up against plants, and it turns out when you negate the Predaplant they just lose. Game number 92, and I'm gonna be honest, this game should have been really easy. All I had to do was give Gizmek the Johnson and I'd have easily taken the game. But I'm an idiot, I didn't do that, so on to the next one for us. Game 93, and every time I try and break their board and kill them, they have nothing on field except one set card, and it's Mirror Force, and it keeps bouncing my cards back. I don't enjoy it, eventually they scoop because they've got nothing and we've got something. Game 94, and honestly I can see better plays than the one I took, but I have a strong compulsion to use Lord Vion, and he delivers me unto joy and happiness. Setting up Sunrise, Absolute Zero, Darklaw and some back row set, we can't possibly lose this one, and of course with no graveyard and no resources we easily take this one and they go to Scoop Town. Game 95 and we're up against the Triff Gaming Special Pendulum, and really all we need to do is be a bit of a nuisance. So we set up the Dark Claw, we hit the Pot of Desires with the Judgment, and at that they've got literally nothing left. Easy game, boys, easy game. Game number 96, and I want to start off by saying I do appreciate the perfect symmetry of that hand. Now, I do not appreciate them going into Super Poly, but I do also appreciate them putting everything else in the Imperm column, negating those effects. Leaving it on our turn for a nice and simple OTK, we didn't even need that Bane. Honestly, it's too easy. Game number 97, I'll open up Shadow Mist and Mass Change, which isn't awful. It leaves us with a Dark Claw and an Honest Neos. They start to combo off, we go into Dark Claw, they summon their own Dark Claw, go to battle phase, they attack, we drop Honest Neos, they drop Honest Neos. This is some sort of anime type shenanigans right there. And then, on our turn, we draw Vion, who is the new god, and our opponent seen the writing on the wall and scooped because they knew what was coming. Game number 98 and we're up against Rockets. Unfortunately our friend did make a couple misplays, didn't end on the board that they wanted, ended on basically nothing to stop our godlike hand, so we have the nuts in OTK with the greatest of ease. Game number 99, and this time it's our turn to open up poorly. Our opponent open up's great, and I have one of those please for the love of God drawn extender hands. So he ends on the goods, he ends on the good board, and I end on the scoop button. However, at this point I learned that this guy is actually part of Team Tally, so I'm okay to scoop to this game. He's a good guy. Here we are guys, game number 100, and I'm determined to take the win. And honestly, it's that kind of hand again that needs an extender, but my lord and saviour Vion, my new god, saves me and we draw into the best back row ever, ending on Dark Claw and a total board wipe. They hit us with evenly, and we, for the final time of this video, give someone the Johnson. Next we go for a game with the boys smacking for an OTK. Thank you for the game, Mr. Team Tally member. Guys, that's the video. Thank you so much for watching and thank you for being part of this journey on 100 games. This is the first in what's going to be a long line of 100 games. As always guys, if you like the video, give it a like. If you love it, give it a share and tell everyone you know about Team Tally today. If you're new and you want to join Team Tally, hit that subscribe button. If you want to catch up with me outside of YouTube, my socials are at TCG_Tally on Twitch, Twitter and Instagram. Guys, as always, you have been amazing. I have been Tally. I will catch you all later. Bye.